In today's episode, we are recapping the horror thriller anime Parasyte the Maxim episodes 4 to 6. Link to the first part is in the description. Eshin corners Shinichi and Migi. Eshin tells Shinichi how superior he is compared to Migi, who failed to take over the host's brain. Shinichi becomes agitated but remembers what Migi said to him. Migi told Shinichi to attack while Eshin is occupied with Migi. Migi and Eshin get into a fierce battle. Shinichi is flustered by the speed they are fighting at. However, Shinichi puts this faith in Migi and moves in for the kill. He pierces Eshin through the heart with the table leg. Eshin bleeds through the pipe. After losing too much blood, Eshin tries to retreat. Migi tries to end Eshin, but Shinichi refuses to murder him. Eshin's body is failing to sustain him. He plans to relocate himself to Ryoko Tamiya. Eshin finds Tamiya only to fall into her trap. She escapes through the window and blows Eshin into bits. Sometime after the event, Shinichi is still traumatized about stabbing Eshin. Despite being a parasite, Tamiya still managed to keep her cover and take classes. Also, the deaths near their area seem to have decreased. Yet Shinichi cannot trust Tamiya. Tamiya is questioned about the father of her baby in a council meeting. The other teachers find it scandalous for her to not give information about her husband. Tamiya refuses to share any information and resigns from the school. Shinichi plans to kill Tamiya. Migi tells Shinichi that if they manage to kill Tamiya, it would kill her human baby as well. Shinichi confronts Tamiya. The parasite informs him that there is no Tamiya anymore and she plans to devour as many people as she can. Shinichi tells her their spices can live on human food instead of cannibalism. Tamiya says it's their directive to massacre the human species. Shinichi asks about the child that's within Tamiya. She says she'll do experiments on the baby and then eat it if there's no use for it. She goes to kill Shinichi but backs down, saying Shinichi is not pure anymore. The next day, Tamiya's mother comes to visit her after hearing about her school's resignation. However, her mother could tell Tamiya was an imposter. She goes to call the police, but the parasite kills her before she could. The parasite is amazed by her ability to figure out who she was so fast. She seems fascinated by it. Shinichi wakes up to find his hand and Migi missing. He panics and his mom comes to check on him. Shinichi, what are you doing with your hand? Migi finds out he can leave Shinichi's body for 3 minutes. Shinichi's parents are planning to go on a trip. Shinichi is against it because of the recent murders. Mom tells Shinichi that they will cancel it if he wants. Mom also asks Shinichi why he seems bothered and different lately. Shinichi leaves for school without answering them. Telling his parents about Migi might just make Migi kill them since it is no different than Eshin or Tamiya. Shinichi's mom is very concerned about him. Dad tells her not to worry since he's always been a good kid. Dad points out the scar on Mom's hand, which she got trying to save Shinichi from boiling oil. Shinichi is talking to Migi about how the parasites tend to stay in urban areas where there are more targets. Mom walks in to invite Shinichi to dinner, but Shinichi snaps at her and tells her to knock before walking in next time. At dinner, Shinichi tells his parents he has agreed to let them go on their trip. Mom tells him why he is behaving like this. First, he disagreed to let them go, and now it seems like Shinichi doesn't even care. Shinichi makes up a lie about being lonely and leaves. The next morning, Mom and Dad leave for their trip. Elsewhere, Tamiya is about to have her child. The episode starts with a couple getting into a car crash. The female turns out to be a host and relocates to the male body. Shinichi wakes up late for school and rushes out. On his way to school, he thinks about the reason why Tamiya spared his life. Migi speculates that corruption may be spread through the body and into his brain. That's why he seemed impure to her and she decided to not kill him. On his way, he finds his friend Nagai being beaten up. He steps in to stop them, but gets beaten very badly. Kana tells the guys to stop beating Shinichi. She looks into Shinichi's eyes and sees the corruption spreading through. The guys stop beating Nagai and leave. Back in the school, Murano is feeling sorry for Shinichi. Nagai's friends thank Shinichi for having his back and tell him to ask for help if they cause any trouble. The girl who saved Shinichi catches him on his way back. She tells Shinichi he's not normal. Shinichi and Murano ignore her and go about their way, but they get ambushed by the gang. Murano is held captive. Shinichi goes to save Murano, but Mitsuo beats him to a pulp. Migi wakes up, but Shinichi tells Migi not to interfere. Before things get worse, Kana comes in along with Nagai's gang. Things don't look too good for Mitsu and his buddies. Meanwhile, A parasite is struggling after it relocated itself to another host. It plans to find another female host soon to survive. Murano walks Shinichi home and tends to Shinichi's wounds. The couple has a lovely evening together. Shinichi sees off Murano and finds Kana at her door. Kana came to apologize. They shake hands, but Kana seems to have sensed something. Migi speculates Kana can sense parasites and tells Shinichi to stay away from her. Shinichi's parents are having a wonderful time on the beach. But suddenly, a parasite attacks Shinichi's mom. Shinichi gets a call from his dad. His dad is bleeding and tells Shinichi about some monster and her mother before the line cuts off. Shinichi drifts off, worried about his parents. Shinichi wakes up from a nightmare. Migi senses a parasite moving towards them. Shinichi arms himself and plans to kill it. The parasite opens its door and gets in. It turns out to be Mom. But she's acting strange. Migi tells Shinichi it's not his mother. But Shinichi refuses to accept it. Migi tries to snap Shinichi out of it, but he threatens to cut Migi off. The parasite attacks and pierces Shinichi through the heart. Shinichi is filled with guilt and despair as he bleeds to death. The parasite leaves Migi. Since Shinichi has been pierced through the heart, Migi will eventually die without a host. Migi decides to relocate himself into Shinichi's heart and stop both of them from dying. Shinichi stabilizes and Migi plans to grow back to his right arm through the bloodstream. Murano and Tachikawa plan to visit Shinichi since he was absent again. Meanwhile, Migi is trying to nourish Shinichi back to life. Shinichi gains consciousness. He cleans himself and finds out that Migi saved his life. He also realizes the parasite that was his mom was real and not a nightmare. Shinichi gets a call from the hospital about his father. She tells him not to worry because he's out of danger now. Shinichi leaves to meet his father. He finds Murano worried about him. Shinichi tells her about his father and says he won't be at school for some time. Shinichi is determined to kill the parasite that killed his mother. Shinichi speculates that the parasite plans to kill his father too, so he has to find it before it can find his father. Shinichi's dad talks about the event of that evening to the investigators. He tells them how his wife died and the things that happened afterward. The investigators tell him about his wife and how she's alive. Dad is in disbelief after hearing this. The doctors speculate him to have hallucinated the events because of trauma. A girl helps Shinichi find the hospital. Shinichi comes in to visit Dad. He tells Dad about his mom and the monster. Dad tells Shinichi he might have hallucinated the events. Shinichi tries to tell Dad about the truth, but Dad refuses to talk about this matter any longer. Shinichi plans to show Migi to his dad, but revealing him might make Migi harm his dad. He goes to a hotel to stay for the night. Shinichi plans to protect his dad and tell him about the monsters when the time is right. He rents a place close enough for Migi to sense any incoming threats. He notices his senses are heightened. Migi tells about the changes Shinichi is feeling, and the changes Migi has gone through. Now Migi has to sleep 4 hours a day. He cannot wake up during that time, rendering them defenseless. The next day, Shinichi visits his father at the hospital and plans to keep guard until Migi is awake. The girl of the hotel company, Shinichi Migi, senses a parasite 300 meters from his place. Shinichi asks for directions from Maki-chan and takes off. Maki-chan follows him, but fails to keep up with his superhuman speed. Migi asks if Shinichi will hesitate again to kill his mother. Shinichi is determined to take revenge for his mother. Migi spots the parasite and Shinichi rushes to it and corners it. That's all for today, guys. Take care.